wanted to show you the fintech. This is the fintech landscape mapped across 8 categories worldwide. Okay, so you can see that there are 8 categories that affect us now: payments, insurance, planning, lending, crowdfunding, blockchain, trading, investments, data and analytics, and then security. And then we also have, of course, certain aspects of planning, lending, crowdfunding, blockchain, trading and investments, data analytics, and security intersects with securities regulation. Now, why am I in particular very focused on securities regulation? Because that's our function at the Securities and Exchange Commission. So securities, shares of stock, in theory, by law, are under our regulation, under our jurisdiction. And it is the position of the SEC, and it's also the position of the IOSCO. IOSCO is, by the way, the International Organization for Securities Commissions. So IOSCO over there. It's like the UN for securities regulators all over the world. And the position of IOSCO is that things like this are technically considered can be considered securities, and thus falling under our domain. Now, this is the basic approach of the Commission to fintech. Because even though technologies change, but the main investor protection principles, which is our primary responsibility at the SEC, they're still there. The KYC, AML, transparency, price discovery, public disclosure, suitability, fiduciary responsibility, that's still all there. So even with the changes in the technology, even with the advances in the technology, we still have to keep up. All the basic principles are still there. And it is admittedly difficult trying to find, as my other commissioner would call it, Commissioner Amatong would call it, he calls it finding the sweet spot, trying to find where the current system and fintech intersect properly. So it's admittedly a bit of a challenge as it stands. These are the 3 ongoing SEC fintech initiatives. There are 3 rules already with us. Okay, one is the crowdfunding rules, which have already applied. We issued that out early this year. And then we have the digital asset offering rules, the DAO, what we call the DAO rules, and which, by the way, is how we define all these different things: bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, all these connected assets. We are going to lump them all together and call them digital assets, and they all fall under that. So the DAO rules are supposed to define, okay, and discuss what is considered a DAO and what falls under us. Now, the digital asset exchange rules, this is even more complicated. The digital asset exchange rules are the rules on our part, if you, as a company, want to come and register with the SEC as an exchange. If you're familiar with the Philippine Stock Exchange, the Philippine Stock Exchange is our example of that. The Philippine Stock Exchange is what we call a self-regulatory organization. And I know I'm getting technical now, I'm sorry. No, but self-regulatory organization, meaning it is an exchange where items can come in between, you can buy and sell there. That is where we intend all these digital assets to be in play. Okay? As much as possible, we don't want digital assets to be sold just online. Part of our regulatory function, in which might affect a lot of your businesses, I'm sorry about that, but that's the regulatory direction we're going, is that it has to be on an exchange. Why? Because if it's on an exchange, which is a self-regulatory organization, it's easier for us in government to keep track of. It helps ensure safety for everyone, for the investors in particular. So these 2 rules, the digital asset offering and digital asset exchange rules, the DAX and DAO rules, have not yet been issued, but we're looking at issuing. We were supposed to issue that this year, but there has been some coordination issues with the final drafts with Banco Central and the other financial regulators. So we're looking at that early next year. My strongest suggestion to everyone who's looking into this kind of business, you start looking at the drafts. The memorandum circular drafts are online. They're on our website, www.sec.gov.ph. I encourage you to take a quick look at them, because more or less that's the final versions. Those are the final versions already, save for some tweaking for grammar and jurisdictional issues, but more or less that's it. So I encourage you very strongly to look at it, download it, look at it, because you're going to have to comply with it if you're going to go into this business.
Open for Business is back, and we are honored to have with us the Securities and Exchange Commission, Commissioner Kelvin Lee. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for coming, for gracing the show.
Thank you for having me here.
So far, Commissioner, what have you, felt that should be addressed by the government that will help the blockchain and cryptocurrency community?
Well, it's clear that there's a lot of interest. A lot of people want to get into it, want to invest, want to do things in it. So there is an impetus on the part of government na talaga to proceed with all our regulations in relation to that, because that is the way you legitimize these players. That's how you legitimize the coins, the digital assets, the digital asset exchanges, by registering with the appropriate regulator, which in this case it is the SEC's position that we are the regulators for that nga, no? So hopefully with the discussion this afternoon, it will push us even more to finally release our two memorandum circulars. No, one on digital asset offering, which talks about and defines what is considered digital asset, meaning the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrencies, all folded under digital asset. And then our memorandum circular 2 on digital asset exchanges, which is like the rules that will govern the creation of self-regulatory organizations for exchanges where the digital assets can be bought and sold. So parang we'll create many PSEs, many stock exchanges. We will call them digital asset exchanges through that second set of rules. So we're looking at early 2020, first quarter of 2020 siguro, hopefully. So that we can help legitimize this already and then move everything forward.
What's your outlook on fintech? And aside from fintech, we also learned this morning that it's not only fintech where the blockchain technology will be applied. So your outlook on fintech and the rest of the other applications of blockchain technology.
Well, fintech is growing. We are one of the countries that actually has a chance to try and become a hub for fintech no, within the Southeast Asian region. Right now, the strongest in relation to fintech is Singapore. They host a fintech festival every year, but we're looking to match that. There are several fintech players here, and there's also us, the SEC. We're looking at possibly hosting our own fintech festival, precisely because there's been so much interest and so many players. There are last I checked, several hundred fintech companies already, and that's with the industry medyo starting pa lang, ano? So you can just imagine 2020 and beyond, there's going to be even more. There's going to be even more interest, more players, more investments in this. So I look forward to helping that particular industry grow with our role here with the SEC. You know? So that's something to look forward to.
How receptive is the government in making sure that, of course, some business communities would say the lesser regulation, the better. but how?
Which I understand. Which I understand.
How receptive is the government in really helping promote this industry to address not only the local market but the global marketplace?
Well, we're very open to working together with all the players, in relation to blockchain in particular. Just so you know, the commission itself, I handle the Information Communications Technology Department among many other departments in the commission. That's why I've been so involved with the fintech and blockchain, looking at blockchain. And I've actually been looking at possible ways to incorporate blockchain into our own systems in the commission. So that's still a work in progress. There are so many people, so many proposals, so many setups, so that's still not yet final, but I am very seriously looking into it. It shows that the interest once again is there, and it shows once again that the technology, although admittedly not perfect, has great deal of potential, especially for us in government. Thank you for hosting it. It's a good way to let people know about these emerging technologies, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, what we call digital assets now. It's a good way as well to help the general public learn and decide if and when to invest in particular areas. So I congratulate the Eagle Broadcasting for that. I hope you can come up with more of these. And thank you for inviting me pala to help discuss it. So I appreciate that as well. So congratulations to Eagle Broadcasting on that point.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for watching Open for Business. Join us again in the next episodes of Open for Business for more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, and industry experts promoting business development in the Philippines. See you again every Saturday and Sunday here in Open for Business, where we discuss business information, deliver the latest business news to keep you informed and open for business and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. For Open for Business, this is Cesar Vallejos. Have a great day.